Joined today by Cynthia Arceo, set to fight real soon, Friday for Invicta FC 38. Thanks so much for joining me, especially so close to the fight. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Of course, I really appreciate you joining us. Like I said, so close to the fight. I know it's currently fight week and you're in Kansas. What are you doing at this point when you're so close to the fight?
Right now, I'm just relaxing. Gonna go for some training later on and stuff, and then get ready for cut weight.
I'm sure. What does Invicta have you? I mean, you mentioned to me off camera you had interviews and stuff like that. What kind of obligations do you have to do for Invicta?
Oh, just different things. Um, Media like photos, video, pre-fight interviews, stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, do you enjoy it, or is it one of those things when you're sort of cutting weight that it kind of starts to get annoying?
No, I enjoy it.
For sure. And you mentioned the pre-fight interviews. This, of course, counts as a pre-fight interview. But what's the question you've been asked the most so far today?
Um, I guess it would be um, I guess about Mallory.
Yeah, and that makes sense, especially so close to the fight and with your opponent and everything. But before we get into Mallory, which of course we have to talk about, I know you mentioned your weight cut. What's this process like at this point? Are you water loading? Are you starting to sort of stop eating salt? I mean, what's going on right now weight cut wise?
Oh well, I mean, I normally don't need a lot of salt and stuff. Right now, I guess it's just basically working out, letting the body relax and sweating.
Yeah, I assume it doesn't sound too difficult from the way you're describing it.
No, it's not. Not for me.
All right, for sure. And then, of course, let's talk about Mallory a little bit. I mean, how did this fight kind of come together? Is this somebody that you wanted, or did your management just come to you and tell you this was the person next?
Yes, they came and told me that this is the person next. I actually had two names before this that they turned down. They turned me down, and then and this was the next person.
And so, what's the feeling like when you hear that opponents turn you down? I assume in a way it's got to be flattering, but at the same time, it's got to be annoying, I imagine.
I mean, I'm always looking forward for the challenge, so I'm excited. I look for it. So, uh, yes, I guess I get I'm always looking for that challenge. I always want to fight up, so I want to keep looking for that.
And so, when the fight with Mallory got finalized, was this an opponent that you had watched in the past? Is someone that you were familiar with, or did you really have to do your research once the fight got announced?
Yes, I had seen her fight before. I like to watch the fights, especially I mean obviously the strawweight division. So yes, I had seen her fight before.
And so, what are kind of your thoughts on her as an opponent?
I think she's a game opponent. She goes out there and tries to leave everything out in the cage. So I think that's a great opponent.
And I'm sure you looked at the matchup, your coaches as well. You guys kind of got together and talked about it. But how do you think you sort of match up with her?
I think it's a great matchup. I think we're both game. It's gonna be we both have the opportunity to make a fight of the night. So I mean, it's that's how legends are made is through 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 battles.
And I assume a training camp, at least the hardest parts are over. How was this training camp for this fight? Was this any different than any other camp?
No, not really. I mean, it was a long camp, but it was very healthy. It was very I feel strong. It was great. I feel like I grew a lot, so I'm very happy with my camp.
And are you someone that watches a lot of tape when you're in camp, or do you rather just leave that to your coaches?
My coaches do that. My coaches do that. Then sometimes I'll watch, but it's just a little bit of everything. Majority is my growth, and all the way around. Um, Continue to grow, get better.
And so, what does a win in this fight? What does it do for your career? I know it puts you on a two-fight winning streak. I mean, what does that kind of do for you?
I'm very excited for it. I'm looking for it. I want to be known, like I told you. I want to show people that hard work pays off. I want to show people that I'm here and I'm gonna be the best at it.
For sure. And do you feel like you have a lot of fans that are kind of reaching out to you through social media and stuff like that? Do you feel like you have a lot of people on your side heading into this fight?
Yes, definitely. It's a lot of support. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, what's it like? I mean, you're at this point, you're at Invicta, you are on a big stage. I mean, what's it like sort of seeing your fan base grow and that you really have people that are cheering for you?
It's exciting. I love it. I think that's a big part of making you who you are. The people that one you have behind you, and two, basically they're your strength, and two, the people that follow you. Because if they didn't follow you, then you wouldn't be where you are.
For sure. And you are coming off a win in your last fight. How do you sort of look back on that victory? Is that something that you're happy with?
Yes, it was a good win. I mean, I don't like to leave it to the judges, but I like the win.
And are there a lot of things in that fight that you sort of used even in this camp and in preparation for this fight, or is that just kind of leaving it behind and just focusing on a new fight?
No, I like I told you, I like to grow, so I do continue to grow on other things as well, and keep. It's not just about doing one technique for one fight. I think that's what makes us different from a fighter to a martial artist. Is you continue to grow on that. You to continue to develop on it and make it better. Just because it's good already doesn't mean that you stop practicing it. You just continue it.
For sure. And I assume you're. I mean, you mentioned you were in Kansas. I assume you're in a sort of the fighter hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what's it like for training at this point? I mean, do you have to go to the gym that's in the hotel, or do you find somewhere outside? What do you sort of do for that training?
Oh well, they have mat rooms for us, training rooms for us. They do have available other gyms for us to go to. It's very open. It's very welcoming for us. So it's amazing.
For sure. Well, what do you do at this point to avoid any injuries? I assume the training is not hardcore, no hard sparring or anything like that. But what are you doing sort of training wise to make sure that you are healthy going into the fight?
Not, I mean, regular. It's the same thing. Like I told you, it's been a healthy camp. I've been great, so I'm happy.
For sure. What kind of fight are you expecting out there? I'm sure you visualized it a lot. Do you have an idea kind of what to expect out there?
War.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great show for you guys, but it'll be fun for me.
For sure. How do you prepare for something like that? Is there a lot of mental stuff that you have to focus on, or is this
Yes,
just
definitely.
being ready?
No, it's definitely mental game. A lot of it. I. It's basically the Shotokan mentality of never quitting, never giving up, pushing through it, going beyond your limits. It's it, it's that type of mentality.
And so, what do you do to work on that mentality? I mean, a lot of people they talk to sometimes family, sometimes a sports psychologist. Do you have anyone specifically that you work with?
I work with my sensei, my karate sensei. He's also my head coach, but he basically it's this style of our karate is Shotokan. So it's the mentality of the Shotokan training. It's not just any type of karate. It's traditional karate, but it's brutal. So it just comes along with it.
All right, now just one more question for you. You told us what kind of fight you're expecting out there, but I assume you see yourself winning the fight. We would hope that you do, but how do you see yourself getting your hand raised in this one?
I believe it'll be a finish. I don't want it to go to the judges.
All right, well, we look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Thank you so much for the time. Like I mentioned, especially so close to the fight, I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Lucas.